to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor affirm by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Alright, the next item is to review and approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I move to approve the meeting.
I second that.
We have a motion to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor affirm by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Alright, we'll go ahead and start with the first item on our agenda, unless it's appropriate to do introductions, since we have a group.
You're the chair.
Normally it's just us, but we'll do introductions. My name is Emily Can. I'm chairman of this board and I live in Swedesburg, Iowa.
I'm Dawn Preston. I have the school up at Mount Union.
Roger Guard, I live down below.
I'm Trevor Condiable, I live in Winfield.
I'm Joe Buffington, Town Administrator.
So the first item on our agenda for today is a request by the Towers LLC for a conditional use permit to construct a 290-foot self-supporting cellular communications tower on the property of the northeast quarter of Section 4 in Township 72, Range 6 West. I believe that's Wayne Township. The 911 address is 1625 Highway 218, and it looks like this is really just right off, would be on the west side of 218. I'm not sure what the crossroad there is.
It's 160th Street. It's the southwest corner of 160th and 218.
Okay, so we have a staff report.
Is there anybody here representing the tower company?
Alright, so we'll start with the staff report, if that's okay.
As you stated, it's a 290-foot self-supporting cellular tower. This is Towers LLC is the applicant. Well, they're the applicant and the property owner is Umbridge. Yes, Brendan and Rendell. Umbridge is the underlying property owner. They'll be putting the tower on their location. It's near the quarter-mile mark where the entrance is from 218. That's the only entrance they can have. It's pretty straightforward. First cell tower's done in several years. There are no guide wires. It's just a straight tower. We've got recommended conditions are red light at night, subject to FAA FCC approval. Tower shall not exceed 300 feet. Permit is void 1 year after date of issuance if the tower is not fully constructed and operational. On cessation of use, tower shall be deconstructed and removed within 1 year. Permit is not assignable until completion of the tower, which means Tower LLC can't sell to somebody else until the tower is complete and in conformance with this permit. And permit holder is required to notify Henry County Planning and Zoning of modifications or additions to the tower.
If the Tower LLC does sell the tower after completion, does the conditional use permit transfer, or will they have to reapply? At that point,
It transfers with the change in
Change in
use
ownership.
certificate.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wanted to check. And I know we have at least one person here to possibly speak on this. Brendan, I encourage if you have any comments.
I was just approached about putting a tower up somewhere, and we've had a lot of cell phone problems, and I asked a lot of questions, and they satisfied with me all the questions I asked, and I found a spot in the field I thought was good because it's in the corner. They're gonna redo the entrance so I can use it and they can use it and the neighbor to the south can use it. And the big thing for me is no guide wires. It's a standing tower, and every question I asked and had in the contract was done the way I wanted it, in the safest way and the least obstruction for the area, and so I was very satisfied.
How many miles north of town is that?
North of Mount
Seven.
We're on 220th there, so it'd be
There's a
6 miles
fire.
north of.
It's-
Walmart.
yeah.
Sweetsburg
roughly
is
6
about
miles.
2 miles from this.
3/4 miles north of the Mount Union Blacktop turn on.
That's this turnover here. Did you receive?
We're
public
somewhat in line
comments
with the
from-
airport runway then.
It's
We're
well,
like
it's well outside,
Sweetburg.
it's well outside the airport zone.
Still 290 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be,
No,
it has
I
to be,
just-
it has to be lighted, that's the only, that's the
Well,
only
if it was
requirement.
300 foot, so they intentionally stayed under 300 feet.
Well, anything over 200 feet has to have a red light, or has to have
Right.
FCC approval. So,
Yeah.
I have received no phone calls or written comment on this from the hearing.
Is anyone else in this room here to comment on this issue? Is there any, other questions from our
I've
board?
got a question. I don't know that I've ever seen one without the guide wires. How are we gonna do that?
There's a few. If you go to Iowa City, just past Ainsworth, in between Ainsworth and Riverside, there's one right there. It's just a tripod, what it is, and they don't need much structure because they just need that satellite on top. So it's just a tripod. It's 100 foot by the part they're leasing from me is only 100 foot by 120 feet. So it's not very big at all. And
How far away from the road is where they're gonna construct the tower? Give or take.
I would say it's probably 100 feet from the ditch.
This mark is to scale.
It should show on the sheet, I guess.
Does it meet the county fall down rule in for a tower?
It does, these collapse on themselves when they come down, they're designed, they basically accordion when they come down, they don't just fall over. And that's every non-guide tower, well, even guide towers do that too, for that matter.
We just know with some of our winds here, right over the 218, would not be good.
I have my list, let me check that.
I make a motion we approve the tower with these recommendations. Back.
I'd second that.
Alright. We have a motion to approve the conditional use permit with the recommendations in the staff report. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor affirm by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. The motion has passed.
Next item on the agenda is a request by Union Electric Company, conditional use permit to construct a 5-position, 345 kV substation to be owned by Ameren, and also a 69 kV substation in the same location to be jointly owned by Ameren and Mount Pleasant Municipal Utilities on the property. This is in the 1400 grid of Old Highway 34. That's west of the on Old Highway 34, west of the 34 bypass, the east half of the northwest and the west half of the northeast. And the northwest 12.5 acres of the west half of the northeast, all in section 271-7, that's Tippecanoe Township. It's a site, they'll be fenced in, approximately 600 by 700 feet. We can pass this around to everybody once. That red line represents the fence perimeter that'll contain the substation. And I think there's somebody here from Ameren, I'll let him explain the more technical ends of his request.
Yep, So, Sam Morris, I am manager for Ameren in our major projects division. So this project, the 345 kV portions are tied to MISO's long-range transmission planning portfolio projects. So MISO has released now 2 phases of projects, Tranche 1 and Tranche 2.1. This project is part of Tranche 1, which was approved in 2022. It's really aimed at increasing the reliability and resiliency of the transmission grid throughout the Midwest. In total, there were 18 projects comprising about 2,000 miles of new 345 kV transmission lines. The total value of the entire MISO portfolio was estimated a little over $10 billion. So this is one very small part of that project. It will interconnect Ameren, Missouri's existing 345 kV transmission line that traverses generally north to south, just east of that substation site, and a new 345 kV transmission line that will be constructed and owned by ITC Midwest. The location was selected for its close proximity to where those corridors will cross in order to try and minimize impacts of affected landowners and the routing of new transmission lines. And generally just happy to answer any questions or that folks may have.
Where was this at with the current line?
So Ameren,
I own this, so I don't know where this doesn't even spot there.
yeah,
I can't really figure out where you're even at.
Ameren's current line actually crosses the northeast corner of our parcel.
Okay.
And I'd have to see the map that,
What's this one?
I'm not sure exactly what that line is.
Where's the current line at though?
The transmission line, I think, is gonna follow, I wish I had a better view. I can pull it up on Google Maps and show you on my
If
phone.
you look real close, you can sometimes see the poles. Cause it's right in,
No, on this side, my son lives here, so it's on this side.
it's here, yeah.
It crosses like right in through here.
Right. So it's very close, it's just, yeah, right in this.
So, is this the new line?
Oh, that's a quarter section line, that's all that is.
Where's the line in it then? I mean, this don't really tell me anything, this is back in the field, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the specific route for the new line, so there'll be lines constructed by Ameren, and we will basically intersect our existing line and bring 2 lines in. There's also an ITC.
I want to know where this line is. It comes, see, I live right here.
We
My
won't
son
be.
lives here, and I'm wondering if that line's getting closer to us, or what's it doing? He's on that side of the road, I'm on this.
Are you talking about the line that's not there yet?
No, the one that's there
The
now.
one that's there now, it runs right through here.
So,
Is that staying where it will?
Generally, Ameren's line will stay where it is, and then we'll just intersect it, cut it, take 2 feeds into the substation. Now, ITC Midwest is going to have to run 2 lines, so they have an existing 161 kV corridor down here.
see, that's what I want to know, is where these lines are. I mean, this don't tell you nothing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that I can't answer those questions because ITC Midwest is the entity that's going to construct those 2 lines.
Well,
Do they already have easements for those, or?
I know they are in the process of gathering easements. I think they've made good progress. Those specific parcels, I don't know the answer to that.
So this really don't tell you nothing, other than back here somewhere is a substation, but it doesn't, you can't get any kind of where it's at, because there's nothing there that really makes sense to me.
well, I think what it's supposed to be is this red line is their line that's existing.
No,
He said
that's,
that's a county or something.
Oh.
That's just an imaginary
Yeah.
line.
Our line comes, it comes up and like hits this, like this corner, actually it's this corner, the bottom corner.
But why?
It's down the Broadway up for us, and you can see there's the poles right there, it's coming right.
Right
Yes.
There's the pole right there, it goes right
straight through here.
Now, where's the new one going?
I,
So we will intersect our line here. We'll likely remove that structure, put in a couple of new structures here and here, and tie them into the substation.
The substation's on the other side of the existing line, right?
Yes.
It won't
It's on
get
the
any
west side.
closer to your property, but they will be probably doing or your sons, but they'll probably be working right on the edge for a little while.
Well, that's one of my questions, is where the substation, and he's talking about one where Mount Pleasant, where's it at?
The Mount Pleasant station would be up in this portion.
So that's a separate,
They'll have two separate fences. Right now,
Oh,
we're applying for the fence that you'll see right now is 345 kV voltage. There'll be a separate fence for the 345 69 kV.
So you don't know where this line is gonna go on the other side? It's gotta go under the road, won't it?
Oh, isn't it already on poles?
Huh?
It's already on poles above ground, right?
Well, the main line that's there now is there.
Yes.
But you said the substation's on the other side
The substation is on the west side
of
of
the
our line,
existing line.
and that line is going to be
You're
connected.
talking about the existing line.
Yes.
Okay, so but how are you getting over there? Cause it's coming up on this side.
Well, he said they're gonna build, they're gonna take the post out wherever it is right here. They're gonna put two new posts in and use that to sort of run a line over to the substation to here.
But when I talked to somebody from one of the, either you or the other company, they said it was 90 feet or something, they had a right of way,
Mhm.
and they were gonna come that way. I guess,
So I'm happy to take your name and your contact information, and we can send you sketches.
I would like to see where it's at now, so I can understand what you're doing.
Okay.
Huh? You're gonna send those to me?
Yeah, if you give me your email address, what we can do is we can.
We talked about something I don't do.
Well, then we can mail you one.
Can I back up for a second and you mentioned that this was something that was approved in 2022. Who's that approved by, the project?
MISO. So MISO is the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. They are a regional transmission organization that oversees planning and operations of the transmission system for like 15 states in the Midwest, as well as Manitoba and Canada.
So is that a private entity or you're gonna have to educate me here. Is this a governmental entity or quasi? Or is it like a utility itself?
It's like quasi-governmental is
Okay.
kind of how I would break it down. I'd have to go back and double check. I believe it's a not-for-profit. And they are, like I said, their focus is twofold. They do day-to-day operations. They coordinate the operations of like Ameren's transmission network with ITC's transmission network and all the different transmission owners. They also plan for the long-term reliability. And so the transmission owners will submit candidate projects to MISO for evaluation. MISO will review those and approve them. These projects are what they call their MVP, multi-value projects. So they are regional benefits with the benefits that outweigh costs by a ratio greater than 1. So this particular set of projects had a benefit to cost ratio of somewhere between 2.5 and 4, depending on some of the financial assumptions you look at and the region.
And those benefits are, who's gaining the benefits? Is it the public in the sense of better electrical transmission? Is it the
Right.
company that owns it as far as
Yeah,
profit or?
the benefits that they're evaluating are like lower congestion, better access to renewable energy. A lot of it is tied to the fact that we're retiring aging generation sources and bringing new generation online. Anytime you do that, you're going to have generation that's produced in a new location, and you still have to get the power into the same population pockets, and so you need a more robust transmission system to be able to do that.
Now, what you're sending me, are you sending me the current line and the old line?
We can send you an overlay that would show both.
So we can see.
Now, I will have to caveat, we can send you the portion for Ameren. I'll reach out to our contacts at ITC Midwest and see if they've finalized their plans, and we can try and overlay theirs on top of ours.
Is there gonna be running
Well, I
lines?
talked to both the Ameren and that place you're talking about.
ITC,
But, you know, you're talking about something like this, it means nothing
yep.
unless I can associate it with what's there.
Yeah, so generally we can show like parcel boundaries, and,
I
like.
mean, I know where the line's at, that's what I'm worried about, is how close you're getting.
Okay. We can send that to you.
But I know you're crossing that line somewhere if you're going on the other side of that.
Well, we will not cross the line. ITC Midwest will have to cross it somewhere, because they're going west to east. At some point, they are going to have to cross our line that goes north-south. Our line is going to stay generally in the same alignment, and instead of having a line straight through, I'm gonna take a chunk out of the middle of it, and I'm gonna have two little spurs that shoot off to the west.
On my side of the road, I hope it's closer if I need to, further north you go. I mean, nice to know where you're gonna do that.
Yep, yeah, we can send that to you.
So to that point, it sounds like, if I'm understanding this discussion, is that the final site plan, is not finalized. Am I understanding that correctly, as far as the location?
The site plan of the substation is finalized.
Is finalized, okay.
The planned location for our transmission line structures
Is not-
are, near final, I would say.
Does that component, because the staff recommendation says that the site shall be developed, constructed, and maintained in conformance with the plans attached to the application.
Which
So that
we're only approving the substation.
Okay, so this part that we're discussing now
The
is not
utility lines outside of that are
outside
outside
of
of our
our,
purview.
so that's not part of this
Right, that's
application. That's a separate
Iowa
conversation.
Utility Board
Okay,
deals with the transmission lines outside of that substation.
okay,
Yeah, I believe.
go ahead, Chad.
Sam, are utility lines subject to eminent domain, so they can essentially put them where they needed for the interconnectivity of the substations? Are they eminent domain property? I mean, can they be?
So I'm not as familiar with the rules in Iowa as I am in Missouri and Illinois. That's where we operate most of our equipment. In general, so long as the utility follows the regulations that are outlined in like the IUB's code, I believe there is an opportunity to apply for eminent domain. Where we have purchased the property and how our line crosses it, I don't believe Ameren needs a new easement from any landowner to construct what we are intending to construct for the 345 kV facilities.
Right. I think what this man is asking is where the connective tissue between your substation and the existing ITC line
Yep.
will be, and that's kind of an unknown and not being able to tell him at this point, right?
Yeah, and I unfortunately, I can't speak for ITC
Right.
on what they're doing.
So they're the one putting in the single post and holding the wires.
So Ameren will be using monopole, of supporting monopoles.
It's
So
one pole.
one pole. Now, sometimes that could be, depending on the configuration, it can be a double circuit pole that has two sets of wires hanging on it. You might have one pole for each set of wires. In this particular case, we only have one circuit through there. Ours would be a single circuit. Again, I'm not sure what.
Well, I see them down there testing the ground for that single pole. And that's not all that far from my house.
In terms of like taking
They said that's where the pole's going.
geotech, soil
They were
borings.
drilling, yeah.
Yep.
And that's your line?
I don't know I imagine that Ameren and ITC both do similar pre-construction tests, so I'd have to look specifically at your property to know.
But you're gonna show me where this is.
Yep.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that I think is beyond the scope of what this meeting is for. So, did you get any public comments?
Part of the meeting, no, I haven't had none written or involved, part of the meeting.
Alright,
So if I understand correctly, you already own the property, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're wanting to put a substation on,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's what we're here to approve or not.
alright. Yes, we'll take comments.
I have a couple of questions. So Joe said that the fence perimeter was 600 by 700, but you're saying there's two separate sections, so will that be within the 600 by 700, or that's just the Ameren portion, not the Ameren Mount Pleasant portion?
I'm gonna have to look at the drawings a bit more closely, to know that for sure. I don't know the exact.
Okay, because when I asked Joe, he was under the impression it was two sections of one substation, is how you explained it to
The way
me.
I've read it, that's the entire perimeter.
Okay, and I can certainly take a look at the drawings a bit more closely and we can get a clarifying answer.
Okay, and then the power that's produced is coming from your system then in Missouri?
I don't know if that helps you or not, but I'll pass that off to you.
No, well, I shouldn't say that. The power, from a transmission perspective, we are pretty much agnostic. We'll transfer the power from wherever it comes from to wherever it needs to go. Ameren, Missouri does own generation assets throughout the state. I think the closest generation asset that I'm aware of that we own is the Keokuk hydro plant. So I'd have to tag in a friend in operations or planning to know.
Because it seems like to me that would be a question that we would want to know, I guess, because I'm familiar with the Schuyler County project. I believe you guys also have MISO approval in for a natural gas plant up by Hills. Am I correct? Or do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Okay. I went on the MISO and I see that there's an Ameren because that's the only project in Iowa currently by Ameren. So I was just curious. I feel like we've had a lot of discussions in our county about renewables and that kind of thing. So I think that's important for people to understand where that might be coming from. So is that something that you can find out for us?
I may need some more specifics on exactly what you're looking for. In terms of, are you asking?
Well, currently Ameren doesn't own, and the line that you're mentioning on here is something you already own?
Yes.
So it's separate from the ITC line?
Yes.
Okay. So I might be interested in that overlay as well, but also where the power generated is coming from that's going on to this and then coming through the substation.
Yeah, so.
I'm assuming there's a plan, otherwise you wouldn't be putting a substation in.
Fairfield or somewhere that way, isn't it?
Well, there's a sort of a global plan of generation, and that's what MISO evaluates as they're making their plans for new transmission infrastructure.
Right.
Ameren has no plans for specific generation resources that are tied to this project.
Okay. Okay.
That line comes from Fairfield or Tony or something, down through the field there and it comes across. Isn't that your line?
I don't believe so.
I got a map from one earlier that showed it coming down through there and then crossing the highway, but that's not the one.
No, so the only line that I believe Ameren owns in Iowa, transmission voltage, is it starts at our Zachary substation in Missouri near Kirksville and runs north to it's called Thirteenth substation, and my Iowa geography is not good enough to know exactly where that is.
I have one other question. I asked Joe about this prior to the meeting, and he said that this had never been asked for, but I just wanted to make sure that the board is aware that under the additional uses section of the Henry County Ordinance, it's on page 140, it says requests for the above uses shall be reviewed by the Board of Adjustment further impact on the surrounding area, infrastructure, nuisance factors, the intent of the zoning ordinance, and the comprehensive plan. Following review, the Board of Adjustment shall vote to approve or deny requests for the above uses. The Board of Adjustment may grant variances as outlined in 6.2.16. In addition, the board may request review by the Planning and Zoning Commission before making a final decision. The board shall make a decision concerning the use within 60 days of the initial date of the first hearing of the request. I just want to make sure that you all understand that that's within your realm as board members to request that the Planning and Zoning Commission look at it. As having sat through many Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, they have found out about things later and were kind of concerned that they didn't know about it. So that's my concern, is that this is, kind of a big deal, and that they might want to also give some input. So, thank you.
Sam, just one clarification before we move on from me. As it's my understanding that both the 345 and the share are within this site plan. You don't seem to be completely confident with that. I guess I'm gonna state is, if that shared one is not in this site plan, it would require a separate conditional use permit if it is not in there.
Yes.
Okay, just where that's clear.
Yeah. And again, I haven't looked specifically at this design. I will tell you that based on my non-civil engineer look, I don't believe that this encompasses the 69 kV facilities. I believe we would submit that separately. It will be located just northeast of this fenced area.
It was a little confusing in the application, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Yes.
Is there other questions from those in attendance in the meeting, or discussion, or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. I guess everything I've heard deals with the power lines coming into it, which is beyond the realm of what we're supposed to be talking about. So I guess what's the objection to the substation?
If there is one.
Objection to what?
To
The substation.
That's what we're talking about, I think, is are they gonna build a substation or are they not?
Yeah, that's what the wires branching off would feed.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know where it was. He said it's on the other side of the existing line, right?
West side.
So far we haven't heard any objections to the substation itself.
I don't give it a choice.
Yep. It also states on the ordinance that people within 500 feet are the only ones that have to be notified, so I guess that's concerning.
And nobody's complaining.
They probably don't know. They might not know until ground gets turned over, so.
They got a notice, right?
Everyone's in 500 feet.
Within 500 feet, that's not very far.
That is the ordinance requirement.
Right, I understand.
Did you guys do, there's a big substation south of Denmark. Are you involved in that? You and kind of built over the hill?
No. I think that might be an ITC Midwest station.
So what's the 500 feet?
Everybody within 500 feet of the perimeter of this property gets a direct notice in the mail.
So,
Did you get a direct notice in the mail?
well, I had one, I called this company, and I called IT, one he's talking about. But I don't know I can't remember what the notice said, but I'm not sure.
Did it
where the
come?
line's going, so I don't know if that's an issue or not.
Did it come from the county, the notice, or the company?
I know Kim was in, she had notice for her,
Okay.
and asked me about it.
Yeah.
She was in town one day, so I'm sure you guys got the notice.
Well, if I did, I called Ameren and I called that IT, whatever you said.
ITC.
They're both very nice people, and I have maps here, I don't know if they mean anything to you or not, some of them sent, I've had them sent to me, but it does not show the existing lines. One of them sent me this.
We need to move on. I
Is
think we
there
need to
any
move
other
on to
discussion?
talking about the lines. We're talking about the substation.
Okay.
I have a question where it mentions in here adding solar or adding batteries. Is there an intent to add additional things to the substation site down the road?
That is my recommendation. That was just to clarify that. Those
Well,
recommendations.
then I'll ask it as a question. I think we need to bring him back to the meeting and talk about the substation and not the wires.
That's a substation, they said. See, I thought this was the existing line.
Are there any other concerns, any other things that you,
Yeah.
anybody else would like to bring forward?
Substation would be for the.
So we.
Since we don't seem to have the attention of the people involved, I make a motion to approve the substation as stated. Because there's been no objections to the substation.
Well, you really need to know what it is first.
We know what the substation is.
You know what a substation is, but you don't know about noise, you don't know about traffic, you don't know about
No,
nothing.
we haven't asked that. Is there noise with the substation?
There can be a little bit of audible noise. So at 345 kV voltage, there's something called a corona effect. We work to minimize that through some engineering designs. So generally at that voltage, you want to avoid sharp corners on your conductor or current carrying equipment. So you put a lot of rounded edges. If you go out there, you'll see rings on the ends of a lot of equipment. It helps to dissipate that. It can be a little bit worse in foggy or overcast weather, but it is generally audible when you're standing inside the substation footprint, and you hear it a little bit overhead.
How many feet do you think, in terms of noise?
That I don't know that I can tell you, and it really depends on atmospheric conditions. There's a lot of things that go into it. Most days you walk by it, you probably wouldn't hear it even if you're standing under it.
Okay.
In its relative size, is there any other substation around here I'd reference that would be that size? I mean, there's one south of New London that isn't very big.
They said this is 3 times the size of the other one, right? It's gonna be increased 3 times the power going down them lines, is that what I heard?
I'm not 100% sure. I know
That's what he told me, so.
they're increasing the ampacity or the capacity on the lines. They'll upgrade the existing 161 line, would be my guess, to a higher capacity, and then the 345 can obviously carry a lot more energy than a 161 kV.
Yeah, he told me 3 times the power, he said.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you don't move it all down, that's what one of those guys told me.
Okay.
And that 3 times the power doesn't necessarily, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because
And I'm not sure
we're an energy consuming system.
I'm not sure it's a problem anyway,
Right.
we don't know, I mean, they say stuff like this. What's it mean? We can't reference it.
Well, we have a motion to approve the substation per the staff report, but we have not had a second.
Awesome.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, as far as the construction aspect of that, I mean, I guess I don't know the size of it from a magnitude of traffic, like a wind turbine, you know, when they build that, there's always concern about the roads and the weight and all this kind of stuff. Is that a concern in the building of that substation?
Yeah, so we do road monitoring while we're in construction, so we'll come out and take a video inspection of the roads that we're going to be using before construction, periodically during construction, and afterward to make sure that if there is any damage, you know, we have it documented. We work with the appropriate people to fix it. The heaviest construction is going to be probably on the early end when you're coming in to pour some of the foundations. The good thing is inside substation, foundation depths are typically much lower than you would see on like transmission line structure, certainly much smaller than you would see on a wind turbine. Wind turbine, the concrete volume is significantly higher. And then the other probably heavier load is we'll have to put down rock in the substation fenced area. So you'll have trucks of rock coming in. In terms of timeline, we try to time our construction to be the civil portion to be early summer, when you typically have a little less concern about like freeze thaw on the roads. You also have less wet weather for like substation construction. It'll prevent some of the mud track out. So we try to take every precaution we can, but it is a major construction project. There will be heavy equipment coming in and out periodically.
So, the county hasn't had any objections in, or has it, Joe, or talked to them about
the county
No.
The
engineer?
road aspect, there's no issues there.
Yeah, and
But what's the closest house to the substation?
My son, my son,
By how far? Quarter mile, half mile?
About 500 feet is,
It's
there
gotta
are
be.
3 houses within a quarter of a mile, the nearest one being about 500 feet. One more at about 1,000 and another at about 11 to 1,200.
Is there some sort of complaint process if this is built and then his son has complaints about the noise, that kind of thing? Is there any remediation or anything that can be done, or it's just, that's how it is?
Well, I mean, Ameren certainly has our hotlines that anybody can call into. You know, we will get complaints from landowners occasionally, and we kind of pass those to our maintenance teams to come out and evaluate and try and rectify them as best we can.
This site is only a small part of the land you own there, right?
Yes.
Is that in the middle of it or the edge of it?
I would say roughly middle.
It's an irregular shaped piece of ground, so
Right.
it would be roughly in the middle of it.
So the people running these lines that we're worried about, who are they? Why aren't they here?
Well, the lines are outside of our purview, we have no control over where the lines go.
Really?
That's the Iowa Utility Board.
Oh, it's the Iowa Utilities, were one of those other ones?
I don't know the specific companies, because they're not part of the request, but the local zoning has no control over where transmission might be located.
As far as any of this stuff, when I called both those companies, everything had already been decided. I had nothing to say about it anyway, so. I mean,
I didn't either.
I mean, they can't sit there and be innocent because they didn't approach us at all. When they contacted us, this was already set. They'd already bought the ground and all this stuff. And I never really was contacted until after the ground was paid for, and I could see the equipment over there, and I got that notice. And I called both companies, this is too bad, that's about what they said. As far as what I could do about it, which, maybe I don't need to, but it's not very good when I understand where it's going, I don't have any idea. I mean, you say it goes here, well, so what? I mean, this stuff means nothing to me.
Well, and like I said, we'll work to get you some.
I want to get your name and number too before you leave.
So what you can do here is voice what your concern might happen, because we can put restrictions on their permit.
Yeah,
On
Is
the
there anything
substation itself.
on the
Substation,
substation,
not the
yeah,
lines.
not the lines,
And
but on
it's-
the substation.
Oh.
So, like,
Which we already have some, we have restrictions on the lighting, safety lighting, construction time,
yeah, they can
things
only
like
do
that,
from like
signage.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for construction, so they're not keeping people up all night. So,
you could put limits on the noise, but I don't know what would bother me and what wouldn't. I mean, I have no understanding of that stuff, so I don't wanna hear it crackling when it's, like he's talking about, it gets foggy. I don't wanna hear it crackling in the way.
be more of a hum, wouldn't it?
Crackling,
Yeah, I mean, buzz, you know.
Do you have any numbers on the decibels at a certain distance away from the lines?
I might be able to get them while we're sitting here.
I don't think most of the time it matters. But, and maybe the whole thing don't matter, but I'd like to know where it's at and what they're doing with it. And it does affect me, it is pretty close.
When you say where it's at, you talk about the lines or the substation itself?
Well, this whole thing, you know, I'd like to, I know where the lines are, I can see them. But, and I think this substation's fine, because I have some pictures I got from the company. But all these lines that are coming into it, I have no idea where they're at.
We have a motion in a second, and we are having some further discussion. Where I'm at is that we could potentially, somebody could withdraw the motion, and we could request additional information if we want to find out more about the potential noise levels, or we can proceed with the motion. How does the board feel? Do we feel like we need more information?
The one thing I would point out is that there's already a 345 kV transmission line, through there. The corona effect that you'll hear, whether it's a transmission line or a substation, is very similar. So the audible portion of the transmission equipment, the only other aspect that you may hear is the transformers that will step the voltage down from 345 to 69 as a part of the future portion of this project. They have fans on, radiators, to provide cooling. So on hot days, those fans could kick on. But the voltage of the equipment is the same today as it will be in the future.
Yeah, but
So
that means
what you're
nothing to
saying
me.
is the amount of noise will be similar to what is existing, potential for noise.
Yeah.
But the fan noise could be an addition.
The fans could be an addition. Yeah.
And that's a feature.
Would that be similar to a hog shed?
I
You have no idea, right?
I played soccer next to a hog farm in high school. That's about as close as I got.
Is there any,
You know, for the
So-
decibel.
that's,
If the lights are in your eyes or your son's eyes and stuff like that, the light is
is it
expensive.
monitored? It's going to be
We've
different.
already got that taken care of in here, right? Okay.
Yeah. External lighting is taken care of in the conditions.
I feel it, and, yeah. Further discussion?
There's been no complaint about the substation itself.
Let's put it to a vote. We have a motion that has been made and seconded to approve the substation per the staff report with the following recommendations. That the site be developed, constructed, and maintained in substantial conformance with the conceptual plans attached and part of the application. That the project does not include any battery energy storage systems. Those types of systems would require a separate approval, subject to Henry County zoning ordinances. That all exterior lighting shall be cut off, shielded, and directed downward. Emergency or safety lighting not meeting this requirement shall be presented to the county for approval prior to installation. No signage, temporary or permanent, shall be permitted except for signage containing notices, warnings, safety and security information, environmental information, and temporary signage concerning construction activities. Any construction shall be confined to the hours between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., and the substation shall comply with all other federal, state, and local requirements.
One other question, what's the building time frame? When are you looking at doing this?
Yeah, so, the construction will start in, roughly May of next year. And the completion for, energization of all the 345 kV assets is December of 2027. So it's roughly a 1.5-year process.
There's ongoing construction during that process of that time frame to some extent?
To some extent, there'll be slower times for sure. The cold winter months typically are a bit slower. Generally, most of what you're gonna see in terms of like building up is probably gonna be done by early 2027. And then beyond that, it's gonna be a lot of internal wiring, terminating the wires, doing some testing on the equipment, those sorts of things. And then in the spring and fall of 2027, we'll actually do the work on the transmission line to bring it into the station, and ITC will do the same.
Now, how close can we get to this energy for effections? That's another thing I was gonna ask. These wires and what's running through there, how close can we be to the house?
So there's no specific requirement.
It
Ameren's
don't affect it at all.
Ameren's practice is we don't want any residential or even non-residential structures within our rights of way. At 345 kV, that's 150 feet wide, 75 on either side of the center line. I'm not any sort of health expert, but if you look at some of the literature, the amount of like EMF that's given off by a transmission line would be comparable to the household appliances use on a daily basis.
Well, I've seen where that, people get stuff from that tower if you're too close, but you can say there's no limit, you can put it wherever you want.
This approval, if we're talking, is for only your substation, and then we've talked who ITC or whoever that was, or Mount Pleasant Electric and whoever, not Pleasant Electric, but Mount Pleasant Utility. Are they gonna build another substation? Is this just yours or is this their substation too?
Their lines will tie into our substation.
So if you're the substation, that's the only substation building, they're just tying into that substation.
The next one it ties into, I think, somebody referenced the one near Denmark. So as this continues east, the line that they're building is gonna tie into that new station near Denmark.
So they're not coming in and building an additional substation in that same corner or whatever.
No.
I vote we approve.
Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor affirm by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion has been approved. Is there any other business to come before this board?
I have nothing.
And then I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.